screen just
All
so
right.
that you have my thing.
We're here. Lisanne, sharing her screen in a second.
Well, you can add it to the stream whenever
I'll
you
add it to
want.
the stream in a second. Whenever you tell me to add it to the stream, I will.
Okay.
So Lisanne is in a mastermind that I'm in as well. I'll just say it that way. And she is just a rock star at Facebook traffic, Facebook ads. And as we all know, right here on Facebook, streaming this on Facebook, Facebook ads can get super scary and super expensive really fast. And you can like just flush cash with Facebook ads. I've been there. I think we've all been there. Even if we're all like, oh, I've never done that. No, you have. You've boosted a little post and you put $10 a day on it thinking you're about to change the world, and it doesn't happen that way. So, Lisanne, thanks for being here. We're going to do live Q&A in this as always. So pile up your questions about Facebook ads. You got Lisanne for free right now. This is your one shot for that. So pile up your questions as we go along, and we will answer them as they hit the screen. Lisanne, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you are, a little bit about you professionally, but most importantly, I want to know the food that you most recently snuck into a movie theater.
That is such a good question. Oh my gosh, especially because none of us have been to a movie theater in like a year.
It's like 6 months ago. And you went to
like, I can't even remember what I had for dinner last night, let alone like what I snuck into a theater a half a year ago. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, it is so great to be here, everybody. I'm so excited. My name is Lisanne Murphy. I am the owner of the Midas Touch social advertising agency. We give you guys the golden touch on your ads. And I'm also the host of the Marketing Matrix podcast. So those are two huge, huge elements of my business. I've been a full-time entrepreneur for about 2 years now. But I've worked in every industry. I've worked in the nonprofit sector, the private sector, the public sector, the corporate area. I mean, I've done it all. And for a long time, I thought that all of those paths that I was like, I kept making the wrong choice and kept making the wrong choice and making the wrong choice. But what I realized is that all of those things were just building up to make me a more well-rounded individual to bring something unique to the world. And so I am so, so, so grateful for all the experiences that I've had. And in my presentation, I'll go into some more personal stuff that I've got for you. But I'll answer your question before we dive into a little bit more about me. Yeah, the movie theater question. So I
for those of you just joining, by the way, hey, Sheridan, Carol, let's see, Sheridan, Carol, Clover, what's up, dude? And
Tristan
Carol,
is on there. I saw his name pop up.
Yeah, Laura, hey, everybody. So I just asked. The main question we have for Lisanne today is, what food or drink did she most recently sneak into a movie theater? Because I so want to go to a movie theater again. Take me back there.
Oh, that's so funny. So, and I'm trying to even remember the last movie that I saw in a movie theater as well. I don't even, there's not enough time for me to remember that here today. But for the last year, I have been super, super intent on eating well. So I've been prescribing to the paleo diet. Last year, I actually went through a huge health journey. I lost 70 pounds in 6 months purely with nutrition. And So nutrition is really, really important for me. But what that means is that the delicious like popcorn and all that stuff in the movie theaters that you get, ices, pretzels, hot dogs, all that stuff, like that's not for me anymore. So for me, the last thing I brought in was, this is going to sound so silly, but honestly, like I blanched some green beans and put a little sea salt on them, and I munched on green beans as if it was popcorn.
Okay. That is the dumbest answer ever. I'm just going to say it right there and call you out. Green beans in a movie theater? Oh my gosh.
Well, when you're not eating dairy, sugar, grains, I mean, like, what is there, right? I mean, you could like bring an apple or something again.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I love that though. All right, it's got some peanut M&Ms popped up in the comments here, and Tristan says drive-in movies don't count as not really sneaking it in. Haha, that's right. You can just throw.
That's awesome. Yeah, but I will say I always bring my own water, even though they say you shouldn't. I always bring my own water, and I've really relegated myself. I never go to a movie theater unless I get like the full recliner, like lay back. So like I like go in my pajamas, take a blanket, like I go all out. So
I love that. We have a movie theater here in town that's like full recliners, the whole theater. They bring you dinner, they bring you wine. They like it's got menus right there. You can order on your app and they like sneak it down and they hand it to you during the movie. It's amazing.
That's amazing. And when is there time to watch it when they have all that going on? That's so
Yeah,
cool.
for real. They only have 4 rooms and it's really cool. Okay. Yes, we got some questions coming in here, but I see those questions. You're awesome, guys. Keep dropping your questions in there for Lisanne. Lisanne, I'll let you go ahead and can I tell me when you want me to share your screen?
Yeah.
And we'll drop it in there. Say when.
I am. Well, let's see. I'm going to put it into presentation mode and let's see what screen it will let you share.
Okay. And as always, everybody, if you've got questions on Facebook ads, you got Lisanne right now for free. So hit her up. This is it. Just load them up in the questions. We'll get to them in a second as we get to them.
Let's see. I'm going to share a different screen, actually.
Take your time. Ross, great to see you, by the way. Great to see you. Yeah, limited. Right, Ross. Great point there.
Okay,
we'll get to that too, Ross. Don't worry.
I am ready to go. When you share your screen, let me know if you can just see my my PowerPoint presentation.
See you and me and your PowerPoint presentation.
Okay, cool. So, and for my view, I can't see either of us. So I'm just going to go and you can stop me whenever. Okay. If there's a question that comes in, but guys, I'm super excited. I don't want to be locked into a presentation, but I want to make sure there's some things in here that will be helpful for you guys to have just a visual of some of the things that I'm talking about. But I really like the best way to learn ads is to ask questions based on where you're at the time. So don't hesitate to ask questions. But this is honestly one of the biggest things as an agency owner and a coach for Facebook ads. I get people all the time that are saying ads don't work for me. Ads don't work for me. Or I've tried ads and they don't work. Or I'm just not sure if I'm ready for ads or whatever reason. But there's one reason why Facebook ads fail that I want to go into above everything else. But there's 3 simple steps to avoid this pitfall. And this will not just help with paid Facebook traffic, it'll help with your organic traffic. So I'm excited to dive into this. So again,
Lisanne, do you want me to interrupt you with questions as you go or let you get through this for a second? Because I don't want to slow you down.
Yeah, well, either way, however your culture is with these trainings, I'm happy for either. You're not going to mess me up.
Get a little bit way through because I don't want to break your train of thought because I want to hear this for our agency too. So keep flying. We'll answer questions.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So as I mentioned before, I am the owner of the Midas Touch social advertising agency, and I'm the host of the Marketing Matrix podcast. So for me, a little bit going into more personal detail, I have really gotten into fitness as well as diet recently. So this is me at my trainer with my sister-in-law and my best friend, and this is right at the end of a workout where it was leg day. So we were limping out of this place. I also am obsessed with food. Those are not the green beans that I took into the movie theater. But all of that is from my garden. And I posted this on Facebook, Chris, recently, and someone said, nice stock photo. And I was like, dude, this is legit my kitchen counter and food that I grew.
That's amazing.
So it has just been so fun living out of the garden this summer. Who knows? Maybe one time, maybe I'll put entire yellow time on my calendar so that I can go be a farmer and that'd be awesome. I've also spent a lot of time this summer watching high school soccer, which is really, really random, but it's been a fun activity where it's outside where you can do it during Corona. And I live in Utah currently. So those are some of the beautiful Timpanogos Mountains on the Wasatch Front right behind us there. And so I twice a week go to that field and watch high school soccer with nice weather in the mountains. And it's just a joy for me. And then of course, love hanging out with my buddies, good friends. People are so important to me. So this was actually just on my best friend Brooke's. She's the one in the far right. It was her birthday, and Catherine Jones and her boyfriend came over and we had a good time. We celebrated. So people are the most important thing in our life, and they are what create the memories that we remember the most. And so that's so much of why I do what I do is because of the people that I care about in my life. So I recently made this post in ClickFunnels. I said, what do you think in the ClickFunnels official group? I said, what do you think is the #1 reason why ads fail? And this thing exploded. This didn't even finish all the comments. So you see there was 297 comments, and I grabbed this screenshot before it was even done being viral. So, I mean, this happened really, really fastly. It happened really quickly. So, what was really interesting is that it was clear there were so many opinions that came out of this post. And so I with my one of my EAs, I said, okay, we need to go in and look at those comments and analyze, like, what are people saying, and what are the trends that we're noticing, and how are we seeing the same things in our agency, and let's make something of this. So the first thing that I want to, this is more of an organic tip, but a little bit of a bonus. Like, why did the virality of that post happen, right? Because we're all told to comment in groups or post things on our wall. And again, this training is about paid Facebook traffic, but here's some organic tidbits here to help you out. So first of all, the post forced preference. Okay. So I said, like, what is the number one reason, right? So it forced that people had to, now, is there one reason why ads fail? Like, maybe not. I'm going to make the argument that there is, but you know, it created tension because of that forced preference. It also was emotional. I said that they fail, you know, like, and is it really true? Like, a Facebook ad can fail? Like, you know, it can be profitable or not. It can be effective or not, but like, does it really fail? So it created emotion. It also created conflict, and it elicited an easy answer, because I wasn't asking for, like, what are all the reasons that you've seen why ads are difficult and expensive sometimes. I said, what is the one thing that that happened? So in this question, we categorized everything. So this is, so one of my past, I actually didn't even mention this industry, but one of the past things that I did is I worked in academia for a long time. I actually abandoned my PhD applications to start a business. And I was planning on studying life callings and, like, why people do and follow things that they're really passionate about. And while I was researching that, I learned a lot about empirical research and, like, really, really rigorous statistics and how to research. And so I've really tried to bring what I learned into my business. And so we did some coding of the responses on this Facebook post that we made, and we found that there was 11 categories of responses to this question. Okay. So first of all, that's fascinating to me, right? 11 categories. It's absolutely crazy. The fact that there wasn't consensus on that just shows how difficult it is for people to nail down why Facebook ads do and don't work, right? Like, if it was so cut and dry, like, there wouldn't be 11 categories. There would be way, way, way less. Okay. So here's some of the categories here are the bigger categories that things fell into. And there are actually even more categories. These were the 11 major categories where there was a statistically significant number of responses in that category. There was some one-offs that were different. So 11 major categories. So what huge one that people said, they talked about targeting. So they said, these are some of the exact comments from this post. Oh, that's an easy one, targeting. I love it when people are like, that's an easy one. I'm like, okay, yeah, really? Like, there's over 300 people that have also said something similar, or yeah, like you say, like, just go do it. Targeting incorrect audience is the only reason. So targeting was one of the more volatile, like, where people had, like, strong opinions about why ads do and do not fail. And I'll tell you from my agency that targeting is critical and super important, but it is not. You can have amazing targeting and still have poop ads. So speaking of that, I guess I was, like, looking ahead on my slide. So the next category is offer or product. So it said something had to do with the offer or product. So one response was the offer is poop. Another one was a good ad can't fix a bad product that no one wants. Okay. And these are also, again, like, true, but, like, is it the one reason? I would argue that is not necessarily the case. Next big category is knowing your audience. Okay. A lack of understanding what your customer wants, not knowing the avatar. Those were, like, some of the types of responses that we got in this category. Another category was messaging and copy. Okay, so people were saying there's a disconnect between ad copy and landing page copy. We call that congruence. And that's, again, it's true, but is it the number one reason? People talked about how there's a bad headline, bad copy. Okay, and then there was a bunch of other categories. So they fell under strategy, about the creatives, lack of testing, lack of knowledge, budget, Facebook ad mechanics, like, how do you actually set up an ads? And others. I mean, there was a bunch of one-offs, like I mentioned. Mm-hmm. So, but here is the major problem with all of these things. So as we analyze this is a pie chart that's representative of each of those categories. Like, there's nothing that, like, stands out as, like, this is the thing. I mean, this is a pretty even it looks like a pizza almost. It's like it's so even in its distribution of people's opinions as to why Facebook ads fail, right? Which again just shows that it is such a nebulous and tough area to understand. So here's what I thought was interesting about all of these categories. All of them were tactical and situational, okay? Which makes them all true, but not universally applicable, right? So people were speaking from their experience. They were saying, oh my goodness, like for me, it was targeting. And when I figured that out, everything changed. Or for me, it was, I had amazing ad copy and amazing landing page copy, but until they lined up, then people would just fall off after they clicked on the ad and they didn't like the experience they were having on the site. So they all have an element of truth, but they were not universally applicable. And for me in my little brain, I'm like, what is the truth? What is the law that's going on here that can determine whether an ad is successful or not? Okay. So again, this question, what do all these have in common? What is the thread that ties them together? Okay. And for the work in my agency, we work on this thread with Facebook ads, and it isn't even again just for paid ads. This is true for any traffic, or really, in my opinion, any success in any business, not even just online business like many of us are in. So, and it has everything to do with your customer. We call this in the Midas Touch agency dream traffic. Okay. Not just any traffic, but like, what is your dream traffic? Who are the buyers that are going to be raving fans of your business? And they're the people that you like to work with. Chris, you talk about this constantly in your mastermind of like, how to improve, like take your C-level clients up to B-level clients and B-level clients up to A-level clients. Like it's not just about getting people to pay you. It's about getting the right people to pay you and analyzing that avatar that you're working with again and again until you get better people to work with better margins, right? We talk about the exact same thing when we are working with our agency clients and the coaching clients. So here is the first step that's super, super important. Step number one. Okay, so let me go back to this for 1 second. So I told you I was going to say the number one reason ads fail, okay? And it really comes down to this. It is a misunderstanding of your dream traffic. All of those things, all of those pieces in this pie have to do with a misunderstanding of who it is that you're actually selling to. I think sometimes with ads, because we're kind of removed from the customer, like we forget that like there's real humans that are standing in line at Costco. They're sitting on their couch on commercial break when they see your ad. We forget that there are real people that are seeing your advertisement or your post about your product or your service. Okay. So to overcome this, okay, step number one is to identify your customer archetypes. Okay. So here's the key here. And this is something that I've noticed. Everyone who started a business, they always say, okay, who's your ideal client avatar, right? And they all come up with all these fancy nicknames, like, oh yeah, well, my ICA. And that's even another way to like dehumanize people. Like there's nothing like dehumanizing someone by calling them an ICA, right? An ideal client avatar. But here's the mistake that people make. People think that in a business that they can only have one ideal avatar at a time. And so what they do, because people are dynamic and there's multiple types of people that you can serve in your agency or your business, they try to cram every single possible attribute of any avatar, any person that could possibly be into one client avatar. And then it turns into this like Frankenstein human of characteristics that if you try to market to that person, like they just don't exist. Instead, and what happens is like take this archer, for example, like think of this as being the archer. If this archer were to try to hit more than one of those targets at the same time, where would that arrow go?
Right in between.
It wouldn't hit any of them.
Yeah.
And this is the exact same thing with our businesses when we're trying to reach certain people. So you can have multiple targets, just like this picture, right? There's like 15 targets for this girl to choose from to hit. But you can hit them all, but you can only hit them one at a time. Okay. So one of the biggest ways that I learned this in my business is with my good friend, Catherine Jones. So Catherine Jones is the creator of CF Design School and the Design Hacker Movement. She's a really, really good friend of mine. So I've been running her ads for a couple of years now. And the most fascinating thing happened where this point really came home. So her product, CF Design School, helps people learn how to design websites and funnels without any tech skills. So you don't need coding, Photoshop, or graphic design skills. And she does it using some very, very simple extensions and Chrome and some methodologies that are just absolutely brilliant. So her product services really two types of people. They service the funnel builders who are trying to increase the conversions of their own funnels or build funnels for their own business, or they're wanting to do a funnel agency, so they need to know how to create a kick butt funnel. The other group is the freelancer or contractor group who are wanting to know how to build funnels so they can offer that as a service to their client. And if they know how to create a profitable funnel, they can charge a lot of money and increase their margins for the skill set that they have serving those clients. So when I first started advertising with her, we were hitting both of those avatars at the same time. We were like, okay, if you want to increase the conversions of your funnels or learn a new skill, this is for you, right? And we were advertising and she was making money. She was making good money. But I just had this idea one day. I was like, what would happen if we separated those two and we created an ad specifically for the funnel builders that was focusing on conversion and an ad specifically for freelancers that was focused on gaining a skill? Mm-hmm. And Chris, the craziest thing happened. We were advertising and at a level, she was getting about a 3 return on ad spend. And when we separated them, the cost to acquire a client went like this. They separated. One went higher and one went lower. Now, what's fascinating, the most fascinating, I mean, CF Design School is created for, CF stands for Click Funnels. So, this is for funnel builders. She had it in mind, but it was actually the funnel builders. The cost to acquire them doubled, and the cost to acquire a client for the freelancers was cut in half.
Wow.
So I was like, what the heck is going on here? Because she created this thing for funnel builders, but it's the funnel builder audience that got more expensive. So as I dove into her system, I dove into the ads, I dove into her webinar, what I realized is that in the first 3 minutes of her webinar, she shares, what is a funnel? Let me share what a funnel is. And she goes over the anatomy of the funnel and how to think about it and does some analogies. Well, if you're a funnel builder and in the first 3 minutes of a presentation, someone says, what is a funnel? You're going to be like, I know this already. I'm over this. This is obviously not for me. And they're going to bounce. Whereas the freelancer is like, what? I've never even heard of a funnel. That's amazing. And they're going to stick around, right? So the freelancers, they need the 90 minutes of education. Whereas the funnel builders are like, I don't have time for this. And I've been through 18,000 webinars. Like, I get what you're doing. I'm out. So we actually built an entirely separate system for the funnel builders. We built a 17-minute VSL to hit them. And it was specifically for them and their needs. And then when we did that, the cost to acquire them dropped to the same level as the contractors. And I was blown away. I was absolutely just blown away of like what happened to the effectiveness of our ads as we isolated our archetypes. We went after one target and we made sure that the ads were for that target. The funnel was for that target. And then if we wanted to do a new target, we created an entirely new system for them. Okay.
Yeah.
This is so critical. One of the biggest reasons why ads fail is that misunderstanding of the dream traffic. And it's because you're trying to hit all your traffic with the same ad. And it just doesn't work that way.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm so guilty of that. Oh my God.
We all are, right? And we've seen the ads online, right? Where it's like, do you have shoulder pain, anxiety, lack of energy? You're frustrated with your spouse. If you have any of these things, like this medication is for you, you know?
Here's a bottle of wine. Yeah,
exactly. Which is, that might be the best medicine for all those things. But whenever we see ads like that, you're like, oh yeah, I don't know, but that's probably not for me, right? But if someone speaks directly to you and a pain that you're experiencing in your life, you're like, oh, they know me. They get me. Okay. Yeah. So step number 2, show interest in those that interact with your ads, okay? So qualitative data is super, super, super important, okay? This is one of the biggest mistakes that people make, that they feel that Facebook ads are so passive, right? Like you can just like spend money and reach people, and some people will come into your ecosystem and some will not, which is true. But if you're going to spend the money to pay to get in front of someone, like milk that relationship for all it's worth. So like take these this is the same ad, but one's on Instagram, one's on Facebook here. Look how many comments and shares there are on each of these posts, right? These are people that are actually interacting with this post saying like, hey, I really like those boots, or like, do they come in this size, or do you have wide or narrow? Like, I mean, all the questions that would come along with boots. One of the best ways to make sure your ads succeed is to learn about your market and talk to them in the comments. Thank them for sharing, thank them for engaging, ask them further questions, give them answers, pay attention to what they're asking about. Because those things you can use to improve your system, improve your website and the information that's offered there, improve your ad to get more people to not just comment, but to actually click through. Or like you see those mad faces, like, why are they mad? You know, follow up with these people, learn about them, go into their profiles. I mean, this is obviously something that is better for a VA or someone to do, to just have that market research going on in your ads. But seriously, whenever I ask my clients, like, are you responding to the comments in your ads? Because I offer, one of the things I offer is ad comment management. And people are like, no, I'll skip that. But then I ask them, are you responding to the comments? Are you learning about your people? They're like, no. And I'm like, dude, you're spending more money than you need to because you're not interacting with those people. Or they're like, man, my sales page just isn't converting. And I'm like, well, have you gone and looked at the comments of your ads? No. I'm like, well, like, go learn something. Like, and they just like expect me to like magically have the answers. And I'm like, I can give you pointers, but like, I'm not the master of every product and every niche and every industry. Like, we have to do some research. We have to email the people that filled out the first set of the order form. We need to work in the comments of these ads. Like, people will tell you what they want, but you have to listen. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
huge research project. We have so many questions piling up here, Lisanne.
Awesome. Good. Yeah. Good. Well, we can even take a pause if you want to take a pause.
I don't want to hold you up. I mean, if you're flying, I'm loving this content.
Okay, cool. Well,
I appreciate you preparing so much. This is amazing.
Oh, I appreciate that. Well, let's see. I don't know exactly how many slides I have left, but let me get to the 3 secrets, and then we'll just start cracking through questions.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So, one experience that I've had with this. So this is a brand that I work with currently as well. This is Binky Bro. They are so amazing. When I first started working with them, they were doing low 6 figures in their business, and they were just doing organic with Instagram. So when I came into their business, started doing some Facebook ads with them, and within the first year, we 5X'd their business. So they hit just over $500,000 in their first year. I'm in my second year working with them. By the end of this year, they'll be a $2.5 million business in revenue. And so we've literally 5X'd their business each year with doing different techniques and using different marketing strategies. But the number one reason why, advertising is easy if there's a good product. Okay. Let me talk about like why they're so successful. So for Binky Bro, there is a product, market, and message match. Now, this is not just baby headwear. You'll notice in the messaging on the website and in their ads, they are going after a very specific subset of people. First of all, they have hats that actually fit babies and they don't look goofy, right? Like most kid clothing, it's like there's like Mickey Mouse or a dinosaur like coming out of the hat, Like this is a hat that, Chris, if you wore hats, like you probably wear that hat.
Yeah, it's a cool hat.
If they had it in your size, right? Their whole thing is they are marketing to the surf, snow, and skate community, and their whole thing is we want your babies to look just like your swaggy husbands. So like if your husband will wear it, we're just going to make it in an itty bitty little size, and so your baby can wear it. And people go nuts over this stuff. It isn't just baby clothing. It is a specific subset of people. And like, you'll notice the ads are very like, very like slangy. And, we talk like we're at a skate park with these people, or they're like hanging out at the beach, like between catching waves. Like that's literally how we talk to these people, and people just go wild. And the brand fans and the evangelists of this brand, like I have never seen engagement on ads like these. I mean, like normally like engagement in ads is like, you suck, you're a fraud, and it's just like a bunch of like stupid stuff. But like with Binky Bro, women will get hats for their babies, and then they'll go back in the ads and they will post picture after picture after picture of their kids. And so it creates this amazing social proof. And not every brand can do that, but every brand can figure out who it is they're serving and serve that market at a very, very high level.
Great point.
So secret number 3 is iterate your strategy and ads based on the data. Okay. So we talked about the qualitative side just a second ago now, and here we're talking about the quantitative side. Okay. So data is king for any business success, but especially with Facebook ads. So before I worked in Facebook ads, I worked in marketing for a publishing company, and we did all kinds of marketing. I did email, newsprint ads, radio, TV spots, catalogs, mailers, email marketing, social media marketing. I got exposure to all of it. And it's really where I fell in love with marketing, 1. And then 2, when I saw the power of Facebook ads, I was just like, jaw dropped on the floor. I was just like, I literally, like, the next year when I wrote the budget for the company, I was like, screw everything else. I'm literally moving 75% of the budget to Facebook, because we could measure what was happening in real time. Whereas, like, with most traditional marketing channels, you set a budget for that, and like, you just like put your billboard up, or like you put stuff on TV or the radio or whatever. And like, you don't know if it's coming back to you till like after the event or after the book launch or whatever. But with Facebook ads, like, you have real-time data to know exactly where every single penny is going, and whether it's working with certain audiences or not, and working with certain creatives or not in the moment. And that's honestly the reason why I fell in love with Facebook ads, and why I just think that Facebook ads are a bottomless opportunity for the majority of businesses on the planet. So, but you have to, for ads to be successful, and you have to know how to read that data and apply it to the avatar that you are going after, right? You have to create stories out of the data. Okay. So, good friend of mine, Brooke Evans, she is a high ticket sales coach, and she is a ninja. Oh my gosh. If anyone is having trouble with their sales, I'll just pitch her. She doesn't even know I'm pitching her, but like, she's just seriously, like, she is an absolute rock star. Yeah. Anyway, I could talk about her for a long time because she's just phenomenal. Anyway, when I started working with Brooke, we kept our ads simple. But we made changes based on the data. And because we were able to understand that data and make individual adjustments at each place in the funnel, like I like to call, like, each place where people can do a certain behavior, whether it's like see an ad, click on the ad, go to the landing page, click on the opt-in form, go to the presentation, click on the order form or on the application page, or like whatever is going on in your funnel. I call those hinge points. Okay. Those hinge points where people can do a different behavior. I'm walking like an Egyptian over here, but like those hinge points, those are the areas where you need to pay attention and figure out where is the most broken hinge. And that's where you focus your time. When I was working with Brooke, we worked with the exact same, and I've done this with Catherine too, her same webinar going to the freelancers has been live for 2 years. And with Catherine, she had the same VSL for 18 months. Wow. And we kept it active in the market and alive and well because we were able to make tweaks and other things. Now, eventually, like for example, with Catherine, her webinar, she's actually going to be redoing another one in 2021 because we have really milked that thing for all it's worth. And she's grown a lot as an entrepreneur in the last 2 years. So she shares things differently now about her product and service than when she did 2 years ago. But the point is because we were able to read the stats and make tweaks, improve the landing page conversion, improve the link click-through rate, improve the conversion from order form to purchase or from schedule to application, we were able to keep the funnel living and breathing for a long time. Okay, and so I should create another slide for this, but these 3 steps so again, the number one problem why ads fail is there's a lack of understanding and focus on who your dream traffic is. So I've got my 3 I's here, right? Identify your customer archetypes. Show interest in those that interact with your ads, qualitative data, and iterate your strategy and ads based on data, okay? You can focus on your people, what they're saying, and listen to them and let the numbers dictate your strategy. You will win with ads every single time. I've seen this again and again with my business, and no, like not every ad's going to work. Not every offer is going to work, but those that win are those that keep at it. And Facebook is just an invaluable strategy to this whole thing. So that's what I got, guys. I am ready for some Q&A. I'm going to stop sharing so I can see your face and see these questions. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys being here and listening to this. I'm excited to answer any questions that you guys have. But yeah, let's do this. Let's see. And I can't hear you all of a sudden.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yep, sure can.
All right, let's just take these one at a time because you just crushed the content here. So first up here, on a limited budget, this is from Ross. On a limited budget, should I wait until after the election to start Facebook ad campaign, wedding photography niche? That's a really interesting question.
Yeah, that is an interesting question.
People are dumping a ton of money in Facebook right now. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing that's really interesting. So when COVID happened, $20 billion advertising dollars actually exited the marketplace because people weren't advertising for events and sports anymore. And so there was a huge opportunity with decreased cost per mil, CPMs, to get in on the marketplace. And that advantage is still there. So while there is lots of advertising going on because of the elections, and there's just lots of heated stuff going on, I personally would still advertise and not hesitate because people are still getting married. People are still making plans. And you can actually use the elections to your advantage. Now, you can't create political ads, but creating ads that are in line with current events actually help them perform better. I'll give you an example. When I was working with Catherine during the pandemic, and all of her messaging to CF Design School was towards pleasure. You know, it was like, you know, your life can be so much better. You can learn these amazing things, like increase conversions, make tons of money, like screw your 9 to 5, like that kind of messaging. Yeah. But with COVID, the performance of her ads just tanked. And we realized, and Russell Brunson did a podcast episode about this, he said, people are not going towards pleasure right now. People are going away from pain. So we changed all of her ads. We completely revamped her entire strategy. It was a huge, huge haul, but like we saw the opportunity. We revamped everything to be about moving away towards fear. So our messaging was like, are you sick of and we didn't use the word pandemic, but essentially what we're saying is like the pandemic has determined the outcome of your life. It has determined your your schedule, your income, and you have zero control over your life. And so we said, take back the security and control by joining CF Design School. And so we pivoted the message of it, and her ads actually performed better during Corona than they are today. We switched everything back to the original messaging because everything got tired. And we even did ads where like she wrote on toilet paper because toilet paper was such a commodity.
It's like writing $100 bills. Yeah.
And like people like lit her on fire because her ads were like written on toilet paper. But she was like, like, are you insecure? Like rolling down toilet paper with her message. It was like the best ad ever. But it got so much attention. So use the election to your advantage. Again, you can't do a political ad, but use it to your advantage to do your advertising, and don't be scared to advertise no matter what's going on the planet. Just pay attention to what's going on the planet.
Great answer. Awesome. Alexander says Google ad is Alexander's got a couple comments here. I think these are just going back and forth with you, Lisanne. So let's hear what you got. Alexander says Google ads is better than Facebook for many verticals. Also, I see so much focus on the US on Facebook, but dividing efforts on multiple channels is a must. Your thoughts there?
Yeah, love this thought here. So here's the big thing. For me, the difference between Google Ads and Facebook is what level of awareness are you targeting people? Okay, now this is what I mean. There's two main schools for advertising. One is intent-based advertising, right? Intent-based is where people are like searching for like best plumber in the area, or where can I find ramen, or who's the best with Facebook ads in Utah County, or like whatever it is, right? Search results are going to come up for that. Google ads are perfect for that because people are intent on finding a certain solution. The benefits to that are people are at a much higher awareness level. They have a known pain, a known problem, a known solution. They're just looking for the product of their choice. The disadvantage is that it's competitive and people can price you out of the market so quickly. With Facebook is pattern interrupt advertising, okay? Because it's pattern interrupt advertising, you're hitting people at a much lower awareness level because they're not searching for you. Again, like we talked about, you're interrupting them at Costco, you're interrupting them while they're watching a commercial on TV. And so you're hitting them more on a pain and problem level instead of a solution level. Unless you're e-com you can hit more at a solution. But if you're doing a service, you're hitting them more at a pain or problem level. So it's lower awareness level, which means naturally by default, those ads will be more expensive, period. But you can charge more for your services. You can charge a premium because those ads will also be more emotional. They'll be more emotional. And then there was one other thing I was going to say about there was one last comment on that. Chris, can you go back to that comment really quick?
Yep. Hang on just a second. Yeah, sorry. There we go.
That's okay. Oh, and then there is a lot of advertising in the US, but here's the thing. So I watched this, there's this documentary on Walt Disney that's on Disney that's actually really good. And when they took Disney World from the US and they started putting them in like Japan, Paris, and all these places and doing like Disney Paris, Disney Tokyo and all that stuff, with every single international launch, the brand tanked and suffered, and the park lost money for years and years. Huh. The biggest reason is because when Disney first started going international, and they talk about this in the documentary, I thought it was the most interesting thing as well. They said, we took the American iconoclastic idea of Disneyland and we placed it in another country, and we did not consider the cultural implications of that place. Mm-hmm. There is so much potential to advertise on Facebook in other places, Canada, UK, India, Brazil. Mm-hmm. But if you try to create a winning US ad in those places, chances are it's not going to work. So advertise around the world, but if you do, hit their culture. Again, it goes back to the dream traffic. Hit that archetype. Don't try to put a US-based ad in India and expect it to work.
Great point. Maybe even find an ads producer in that country and have them help you with the culture and the verbiage. There's so much you just don't know what you don't know. And you need a local. Yeah.
Yep. It's so true.
Love that. Okay. Let's see. Well,
Hey, Tracy, what's up? Tracy's in my group. She's such a brand fan. I love that lady. And she's a ninja at local brick and mortar ads and chatbots. Really? She's a rock star.
Fantastic. Laura says it's amazing how many people don't think they've got this done. The 3 points that you have. Yes, so true. I was just coming to her a minute ago, right? I've actually lost so much money doing this the wrong way. Tristan says, who's the most difficult audience you have been asked to target by clients and why?
Ooh, that's a good question. The most difficult. So I'll share two. One is the most difficult for me personally. So for those of you that are in the ClickFunnels community, you might know Gabe Schillinger. He spoke at Funnel Hacking Live this past year. So Gabe sells rap beats and hooks to music producers and rappers.
Cool.
Now, that is like, I am a white girl from Utah. Like, I will just throw that out there. And I do not have any hood or swag or rap or anything in me. And so when Gabe hired me to advertise his stuff, man, I had to go through this internal cultural identity crisis and trying to figure out who are these people? And to be honest, I followed secret number 2. I went into all of his ads that he'd previously run and I just read the comments for days and I just sat on them and I was like, okay, what is the verbiage that they're using? Why are they talking this way? And literally when I wrote the ads, I had a sheet of all of the stuff that they said and how they said it. And then I crafted the ads with their phrases because I was just this is not me. So for me personally, that was the hardest because, with most businesses that I work with coaching and e-com, I have some pretty close connection, either for me personally enjoying the product or with Binky Bro, I know people with babies. So I get it. But I've lived in coastal areas. So I get the surf, snow, and skate. And I myself am a snowboarder. So I get that piece of the culture. Mm-hmm. But with rappers, oh my gosh, that was just far out for me. The other thing is the hardest thing with Facebook and this is something I realized recently, and it's something I'm still grappling with. So I'll tell you real time, what I'm thinking through is,
I love that, Tristan. I wonder if that's why I did it. Yeah. Give you an education right there.
Right. Yeah. He's trying to take the white girl out of the white girl. But people who want to target richer niches, mm-hmm. Those people, they're not Facebook scrollers, especially I work with a lot of people that work with applications in their business and to get on phone calls. And the number one complaint by everyone that I work with is my ads only bring in broke people. For Facebook allows very, very limited targeting for socioeconomic stuff because it's just against their Facebook policies. So finding creative ways to pull the right people out of the Facebook marketplace is tough, especially if you're dealing with someone who sells like a luxury diaper bag that's $350 or a coaching service that's $6,000 to $10,000. Like that's not in the wealth space. It's in a different space, so people just have to have that liquid cash. That is something I've been really grappling with is like, does this just mean like, it's like you find these on LinkedIn and Facebook's not the right platform, or like, are there other ways to pull out the riches out of the niches in Facebook? I've had some success with it, but it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Good answers. I love this. I'm learning so much. What do you suggest as a strategy for people targeting services for people under 18?
Yeah, that's a good question. So in full disclosure, I have not done anything like that. And so I can speak based on principles that I know, but I can't say like, oh, I've done this, this, and this. So if they're under 18 and you're probably dealing with the parents as the purchasers, I would go after the parents. Because kids, they might not even have a cell phone or be allowed to be on Facebook, or they have monitored screen time. And so those kids are only using their screen time for certain purposes. So I would go after the actual, the gatekeeper, the buyer, which in this case would be the parents.
As a parent of 5 teenagers, actually 4 teenagers, I just have one turn 20. So I'm down to 4 teenagers. My kids are not on Facebook unless they're on Facebook Marketplace shopping for a car or something like that. They're on Instagram and TikTok. So if you want under 18, I would shift platforms. If you want to convince me that I should buy the new thing for my kid, then Facebook and Instagram probably. I don't know. We watch a lot of TikTok. TikTok's so fun. Oh my gosh.
I'm still holding out. I'm still holding out on TikTok. I don't know what's going to happen with that thing.
Oh man. Veronica says she was just mentioning this with your comment about just pattern interrupt when you're doing Facebook ads versus Google, and you're absolutely right, Veronica. Great place to show that. Same with Tristan mentioning the same thing when you're doing pattern interrupt. And then let's see, super niche, love it. Veronica, what do you think of industrial clients for Facebook ads?
So do you know a little bit more, Chris, about what she means specifically?
No, Veronica, if you want to drop a comment about what that means, we got about 5 more minutes left, so we'll keep the line open here.
It could be B2B is one thing.
Or
B2C,
industrial, like warehousing or transportation or air conditioning units or I don't know. How about what about that? So you're dealing with not an individual buyer, you're dealing with a corporate buyer who might have a finance committee and an accountant to go through. How do you do that?
Yeah, so what I would probably do is run some sort of like awareness type campaign, not necessarily a conversion campaign in Facebook, so that people that are not the primary buyers or the gatekeepers can maybe pass it up the chain. But I would do my primary
pipes
focus.
And clamps and extractors, she says.
Yeah, so for that, so my guess is that the actual business owners for businesses like that would still be on Facebook. You could still totally advertise those, and you can get away with a lot more product-based marketing with stuff like that because it's physical. They can see it. Like if you're selling a service, it's got to be just so much more of an emotional sell. Whereas if you're doing products, a clamp, an extractor, you can actually put images of that in an individual ad or carousel ad or a video where you're showing off the product.
Yeah, great. I love that. This is from Ross. What's your order of operations for split testing? What's the first thing you tweak?
Yeah, I love this question. And this is such a hard one because it is, I calculated the other day that just with one lookalike audience, there are 18,000 options with one lookalike audience in terms of different ways you can test it, in terms of the length of day or the percentage that you're choosing. So the opportunities of levers to pull are many, 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 many. So where do you start? So it depends, first of all, on how proven the offer in the funnel is. If I'm working with a brand new funnel that is not proven yet, I try to go more general and more broad. So I always start with the same 4 ad angles, and they are these. I start with one where you're telling, and this is more for a service-based business, but one that's based on your story. Okay. So where it's like, hey, I'm Lisanne Murphy, creator of this, and I used to not use Facebook ads. And then I discovered how amazing they were. And now I use them and they've changed my life. And let me help you do the same. I've helped multiple companies hit 7 figures, blah, blah, blah. Help, like, listen to me, right? So like your story. The second one is a testimonial. So it's like, hey, my friend Catherine Jones, let me show you the results that we helped her get in her business with Facebook ads. And you tell the story of that testimonial. Third is just tell about the service. Like, hey, do your Facebook ads suck? Let me fix them. So you just like talk about like what exactly you're doing. And then the last, I always do some sort of ad that's based on a current event or something that's going on in the world right now, or a state of the world. And so like I mentioned examples for that based on Corona. So if it's a brand new ad, I start with or brand new funnel and offer, I start with those 4 because inevitably with one of those angles, something is going to strike better than the other. So I start that way so that I know, okay, with this type of audience, this type of offer, it's my story that's going to work the best. So I'm going to start with that piece and work from there and make iterations there. I'll change the headline, do 4 or 5 different variations of copy on that thing. But I start broad first and I let the market tell me what works for them. And then in terms of split testing for audiences, again, I also go broad. So I will always do, if they have a list previously or some sort of customer data, I will do up to 3. When I run campaign budget optimization campaigns, I'll run 5 ad sets and I'll do 3 that are based on a list or an event that's been captured in the funnel. I'll do a lookalike on those things. And then the other 2, I pick strategic interest groups. And I don't just do one interest, I do a group of interests and kind of create a super audience of interests with multiple layers, kind of build an avatar. And then if one of those works really well, then I'll split those up and test the individual interests, because Facebook won't tell you, which of these 10 interests actually was working for you. So I start broad, and then when I see what's working, then I narrow in on the piece that's working and separate it out and try different variations and go from there.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so just to be clear about this, Lisanne and I don't have any financial arrangement. She does not give me a commission. There's no affiliate. There's no nothing on any plug I make. Lisanne's just awesome. That's why she's on here. Nobody who's on this right here, this show that we do, ever asked to be on here. I make the invites only. Lisanne's a true rock star. Okay, that being said, I'm really good at running efficient businesses. I think Lisanne can attest to that. I don't hardly ever work. And our agency scales. And it's because of this one thing. I don't do all of this. Like, you will work until midnight every night if you try to figure out and be Lisanne. If that's not your thing, unless you're running a Facebook ad agency, freaking hire somebody like Lisanne. Reach out to Lisanne. But do not become a master. Yes, the Lord just said, do not
try this at home.
Oh my God. I hire out all of our social media and all of our ad spend, all of it, because I just simply don't have time. And honestly, my skill set, what I do for my clients, is absolutely on point with what I do. And we can only do so many things and be awesome at so many things in life. So yes, Laura says, this is why I outsource ads. Good call, Laura. Tristan says, outsourcing is gold. Yes, yes, yes. So Lisanne, thank you for being an expert, number one, in the lead agency inner circle, that we can just ask you questions. Oh my gosh, thanks for just being here. Thanks for sharing so much with us live and so much amazing content. If you're just hitting this up now, go back and start the beginning, because what Lisanne shared at the beginning is so important. And contact info, please, Clover says. So Lisanne, can I just drop your profile name in here? Is that cool? Just reach out to you directly.
Totally. Yeah. Feel free to reach out to me directly. The best places to communicate with me, if you want to listen to more stuff on the marketing tactics and strategies I use, you can listen to the Marketing Matrix podcast. If you want to join the conversation, you can join my Facebook group. My Facebook group is Facebook Ads for Coaches, Course Creators, and Lifestyle Ecom Brands. That is a mouthful and it is a terrible name, but it works with the SEO of Facebook. So it's a great name for that. But we're known as the Facebook ad ninjas in there. So come be a ninja with us and have a conversation. Hit me up on my profile. I'd be happy to have a conversation with any of you if you're really looking to get into ads and help you understand if it's the right time and stuff like that. So
awesome. Well, I just dropped Lisanne's personal profile link right there. And then Lisanne, if you can just, once we hang up here, just shoot me a quick, we'll just jump off the phone here, and then you can just add a quick comment for me so I can have access to Facebook group and your link to your podcast, because those are just both amazing resources.
Awesome.
Oh my
I
gosh.
appreciate it. This has been great. You guys are seriously so great at interacting, and you've been wonderful.
We have the coolest group. I totally think that.
I agree. I mean, mine is pretty cool too, but
I mean, we have an equally cool group. That's what I meant to say.
No, for right now, yours is definitely better.
It's because you're on here right now. Okay. Everybody have a fantastic Thursday and Friday and Saturday, and we will see you all on Monday. And Laura just said, I just like to know enough to speak intelligently about the subject so I can hand it off well. Absolutely.
That's so
and
smart.
Clover, thanks so much. Hey, you bet, man. Super glad you're here. And Cian, you've been wonderful. Thank you. Yes, Lisanne has been a rock star. Awesome. Tons of hearts and stuff flying around. Oh, it's making me cry. All right, guys.
Thanks for interacting, guys. You guys are awesome.
Y'all have a fantastic weekend. We'll talk soon.